I the eagle.
I the eagle.
I the eagle.
Welcome to In the Spotlight with your host, Hannah Wagner.
Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Hannah Wagner with In the Spotlight. I'm here with my guest, Joseph Incandela, the Dean of College of Liberal Arts here at Benedictine University, who graduated from Notre Dame University. Hi, how are you doing today?
Hi, Hannah. Very good, thank you.
Good. So, to get started, how long have you been the dean here at Benedictine?
I started at Benedictine the 1st of June of 2018, so just over a year at this point.
Can you explain to me a little bit about what your job was like before you became the dean?
I was at St. Mary's College at Notre Dame, Indiana for over 30 years. For about the first 20 years of that, I was a faculty member in the theology department. And then I moved into administration my last 10 years, 11 years, and I was Associate Dean of Faculty. Most of my responsibilities included curriculum, so I helped prepare and design the new general education curriculum that we had at St. Mary's, and I also oversaw things like faculty scheduling and other kinds of personnel matters.
Nice. What do you think that you as a dean now have to think about that, say, faculty don't necessarily have to?
Probably a couple things, and one I would say is the future. That is, faculty work in chunks of usually 15 weeks or so as a semester or over the course of a year. Sometimes they have projects that span a year or two in terms of research or book writing projects, but a dean really has to think decades down the road. When I go into my office in the morning, at one level or another, I'm thinking, what do I need to do today so that whoever is sitting in my chair 50 years from now has more resources, more opportunities, more advantages to do the best that that person can for their students at that time. The other thing I think that's different from deaning and being a faculty member is faculty members have a pretty wide array of freedom. They, for the most part, get to decide what they want to teach. They get to decide what kinds of research projects they want to work on. And no one is really looking over their backs to say, no, you can't do this or you need to do that. Deaning is a little bit different because for anything in the college to move forward, I really have to persuade people that what I'm thinking or what they're thinking is really the best way for all of us to move forward. I can't wake up in the morning and say, well, let's just get rid of the communication arts department because I had a bad dream last night and I don't think we need one of those anymore. Yeah. You know, it just doesn't work that way. So it requires a lot more shared governance than what a faculty member generally can do, largely by their own choosing.
Okay. And then how did you decide that you wanted to become a dean?
Well, that's a good question. I had an admin assistant when I was first moving from being just a faculty member to an administrator in my previous position. And I was very comfortable being a faculty member. Life was good. I saw myself, I could have done that job for the next 20 years or so until I retired. And I was really going back and forth whether I should make that jump into administration. And she took me aside and she said, we grow through taking risks.
Oh.
And that made a big difference for me.
All right. Well, that's all the time that we have for this half of the segment of In the Spotlight. I'm your host, Hannah Wagner. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Ben News for October. I'm Maddie Smith.
And I'm Joey Spahn. Here's the news for October. Student Senate, a club on campus for which students can express any comments, concerns, or changes they want to see happen on campus. They are divided by each college, where members within that specific college can share what they have heard or seen around campus to help those students make changes. Eye of the Eagles' Tyler Stachniak spoke with Student Senate President Lauren Schuster about details on this club.
Hi, this is Tyler Stachniak with Eye of the Eagle. I'm here with Lauren Schuster, the President of Student Senate. So Lauren, can you tell me a little bit about your role in Student Senate?
Yeah, so I'm the president of Student Senate. So in my role, I meet with the president of the university, the provost, university faculty and staff, and with our senators. So we have constant meetings all the time. Basically, everything that I do and all of our senators do is we try to enhance the students' academic and social experience here at Benedictine. So that comes down to encouraging changes that need to be made that students want to see on campus, addressing student concerns, making sure that they feel heard and welcomed in the community, and then also encouraging them to have fun and just get projects and events going that they want to see here.
And what does a typical Student Senate meeting look like?
It's usually a lot going on. So we start with roll call, so we take attendance, and then we go into open forum. So that's where we invite potential senators to give a speech to be welcomed in the Student Senate. And then we also invite other people as well, so potential clubs that need to be approved on campus through SORC. Also the dining services, bookstore personnel, the ACE Center, anybody that wants to gather student feedback or just to engage with our senators, we allow them to come and speak during open forum. And then that leads to a lot of different things that could happen. Most of the time it goes into executive reports, so that's where we give our reports on what we're working on through the executive board. And then we also have the committee chairs through each committee give a report as well, what they're working on with their committee, what their goals are. If they need to ask questions or get student feedback on something for their deans or for their committees, they also work on that as well. And then it goes into old business, so if it's something that we were working on in the past meeting, then we start to work on that. And then we go into new business. So that's where anything that our senators feel like it's important to address, something that they've been wanting to get off their chest about, something that they want to see on campus, or something that a student approached them about that they want to hear out. So that's where we get all of our student feedback, and that's where me and Vice President Ahmed and I, that's where we get our student feedback, so we bring it to the provost and the president.
Awesome. And then what can we expect to see from Student Senate this upcoming semester or year?
Yeah, so we got a lot in the works, just with everything going on with COVID and the pandemic and everything like that. It's a little bit hard planning online events that everybody can attend, even if they're not necessarily living on campus or around campus. So we got a lot of things in the works right now. Not everything is definite, so I don't want to give too much, but go ahead and check out our social media. We post constantly about what we're working on. We ask for student feedback, so you'll see a lot of it on our social media soon.
Awesome. And then if someone were interested in joining Student Senate, what does that process look like?
Yeah, so the application is on the website, so you just fill it out. It's like your name, GPA, what college you're in, major, everything like that. You have to write a short essay explaining why you want to be a part of Student Senate, explaining your leadership roles in the past, etc. And then after that, our speaker will reach out to you to set up an interview. After the interview takes place, then we can decide if we want to invite you for open forum. So that's where you give a speech to the rest of the senators, and that's when Student Senate votes on whether or not you would be accepted into the committee. So it's a little bit of a process, but we are very welcoming. We are open to people coming in. We want to take in new members, and we want to get you all involved in the community.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. This is Tyler from Eye of the Eagle.
A new alumni wall of greatness, representing the College of Liberal Arts, is now up on the first floor of Kaitlyn Hall. Professor Burks is in charge of the project. He stated that this project is not just for showing off alumni, but for students who may be inspired by what the alumni on the wall do, so they can reach out and ask questions. He also expressed that many of these alumni truly want to be more involved in helping students with any questions, internships, or jobs coming right out of college. BenU's reporter Kevin Gallagher spoke with Professor Burks about this exciting new project.
Recording. Hoping I'm doing that right. Yeah, I am.
Yep, you are.
So I've never really heard of this project until basically just recently because of this class. Can you give me any details about it, really?
Yeah, so the alumni wall is just a series of, I don't know what you call them, banners or plaques or something that recognize different alumni in the College of Liberal Arts and what they've managed to go on and do. Really, it's born out of one thing, And that is when parents come and they say, what can my kid do with this degree? We can just point to the wall and say, look, those are all things your kid can do with this degree. And so that's kind of where it came from, is a lot of people in liberal arts know the potential for these degrees, but a lot of students and parents, they just want to know, where am I going to get my money's worth out of it? And so now we have just a big long wall of people, and you can just look at it. Oh, wow, this person's, you see that the one lady's like a track star, Olympic track star and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful.
Yeah, and I've seen that firsthand too with John Matthews. Tell me if you know him. So he is he does video for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, that's cool.
The Super Bowl. And did the Rams the year before and went to the Super Bowl for that too. So
outstanding. So that's the idea, is that I think, like when you're in College of Science or in business, it's kind of obvious what your career path is going to be. You're going to be a doctor, you're going to be an accountant or whatever. But here, it's kind of a little bit more difficult. And so the idea was just a very visual way that people could get an idea of what they could do with their careers.
Yeah. Do you know where it'll be located at all?
Right now, it's currently located right outside the dean's office in Kindlin. So if you come out of Kindlin or come into Kindlin, and let's say you're coming from the north and you're heading towards that big parking lot, right now it's right there on the left-hand side. I'm going to take the other wall by the TV studio probably, and we'll put a strip there probably.
Gotcha. So are they going to keep it there forever? Are they going to keep just adding on to it, really? Is that the plan? Or
originally I had the idea of building of it being giant, but when I started hanging them, I saw it was so much more powerful as just a single line left alone. So I probably have 20 or 30 other people to go up. So I'll just rotate them, right? Every couple of months, I'll take somebody down and put somebody new up. And we're going to rotate through like that.
Yeah. Other than that, do you know any big names? I don't really know too many alumni here. So it'd be great just to hear about their legacies and stuff. Do you have any big names that maybe you've even teached?
Well, I guess the question is, what do you count as a big name? Are there any superstars out there? I've only been here. Go ahead.
I wouldn't say superstars, but anyone who's gone on to do big things. I'm sure a lot of people have, but any big company.
Yeah, I can think of like one guy in particular. Now, again, this might not qualify for what you mean as a big thing. His name's Alex Fridge. He graduated a couple years ago. This guy's going to run the world. I mean, he really is. He is the most charismatic hustler you've ever met. And so he has this incredible photography business where he does weddings, he does other kinds of commercial photography, and he's just absolutely done a wonderful job. Mm-hmm. He also has interns every year from our university come and work with him at his studio so that they get experience. So not only has he become very successful, he's also helping the university. He's also helping those who want to come after him also start careers. He's launched, I think, 2 or 3 photographers' careers. So to me, when I think of big time, I think of somebody like that, somebody who has made their own way in the world and then gives a little bit back.
Mm-hmm. And are they going to keep that same name? So you said the Wall of Greatness.
It's just
Alumni Wall. Are they going to just keep it that name, or?
I doubt it. I think the Alumni Wall for right now is what it's going to be. Yeah. Somebody just needs to finish out that sentence, right? The Alumni Wall of Greatness, the Alumni Hall of Fame, or something. But the Alumni Wall, I think, is a safe thing to call it for now until we figure out what the rest to call it.
Mm-hmm. Trying to think of other questions. Just because I don't know too much about it. So are they still working on it? Has it already been done at all, or are they?
I'm just the only one doing it. So I just do the templates because I teach design. So it's hopefully should be something I'd be able to do. But I mean, if you think about yourself, right? Yeah. And when you came here to school, you might not kind of known, I don't know what I want to do, but if we had like all these, I can think of 2 or 3 people who are writing sports now, right? Who are doing sports journalism out in different places. A lady up in Wisconsin, I think, is doing sports. I know we have the editor from the Candor 2 years ago is at a newspaper in Wisconsin, writing sports and news. And so, but wouldn't that have been nice for you to just walk in and go, oh my God, look at all these people doing what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And so that's the idea is it's, your professors might tell you something and your friends might tell you something, but if you could just see 20 people on a wall and who've been successful, you don't need any explanation, right? You don't need it. You just look at them and you're like, dude, that's what I want to do.
So on the wall, obviously there's probably names. Does it say, where they went off? Mm-hmm. Stuff where they went to do? Just because, I mean, if I went there and I didn't know what I wanted to be, I'm just walking past, seeing where they work. I'm like, oh, that sounds really cool.
Yep. We do. Do you have a shot of one of the things by any chance?
I do not actually. I should probably
Oh.
go up or something.
Here, I can get you one. Okay. Do you want me to share my screen with you? I don't want to ruin your recording.
You can go ahead and share your screen. Yeah,
Okay. You need to. Do you know how to allow me to share my screen? If you don't worry about it. I can email it to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just email it to me.
I'll do that. I'll just email you an example, then you can just shoot a picture of it, and you guys can use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty nice. It's just like their name. Their name is really big. But really, the second thing is what they do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I think a lot of people want to see is what they do. And of course, these are young people. Most of these people are in their mid-20s, maybe. You know, we purposely tried to keep people that are students' age as a, you know, you see somebody who's 65 years old on the board, and you're like, pfft.
Yeah.
So we try to keep younger people in there, but you know, their jobs are going to change probably every couple of years.
That's true.
I know one lady we had, and she now, I think she thinks she runs the PR or the communications for the Navy SEAL Foundation.
Wow.
I mean, that's a pretty sweet job.
Yeah.
So, and she didn't graduate 6 years ago, maybe.
And I've just recently, like I've heard Kaitlyn Estopare. She interviewed for another class, the St. Louis Blues beat writer, and he was like, you know, if you need help getting a job or something, like just call me. I'm like, you know, it's just amazing how you can get names and stuff.
Yep.
Like any of the alumni too, I'm sure, you know, if you need anyone.
Well, that's the idea here, and it's something we need to do a better job of, right? So the alums, they have all this wealth of experience, and 99.9% of them want to help students come along. And we just need to link those two things up so that they can help each other along. But overwhelming, the alums will say, I don't care, just send me somebody, send me a name, send me an email, I'll do it. I've never had an alumni turn me down when I've said, hey, I've got the student interested in this. Never had an alum turn me down. So yeah, we just got to make that connection.
And I think it'd be great to even integrate them into some of the classes, let them talk about, you know.
Yeah, it would be. There's actually a thing, a council. I know that Professor Seeley is working with some of our alums. I think he's working with some of our alums to do kind of that idea. So hopefully we're moving that way.
Awesome. I think that's about it.
As most of students can't wait for sports to begin, student athletes at Benedictine are itching to play sports again. Sports have been pushed back to the spring season due to COVID-19. Winter sports are up in the air for right now, and players have been training in small groups around campus and, of course, following safety protocols by wearing masks and practicing social distancing. The season has been delayed to the spring. Here is Logan Shephard with Paul Nelson to discuss sports and how the student athletes will be moving forward to play again.
Hello, I'm Logan Shephard, and I'm for Eye of the Eagle News, and I'm here with Paul Nelson, the athletic director here at Benedictine University. So, Paul, with sports being moved to the spring, how is Benedictine keeping those athletes safe while they're not in season?
So this fall, we're first and foremost, we're following the NCAA guidelines. So the NCAA has come out with a list of recommendations and how you should be conducting practices this fall. So what our fall looks like, first couple of weeks we had student athletes working with our strength and conditioning staff. That was on a voluntary basis. It was an opportunity for student athletes to kind of get physically ready for practices. So we went through those first 2 weeks and had a good turnout for those sessions. And just recently, earlier this week, we started the practices. The NCAA has asked that we follow social distancing guidelines, wearing masks, things along those lines to kind of get started. So our first 2 weeks, all of our coaches are working with our athletic training staff on what those practices should look like. The focus is more on skill development than scrimmaging and contact drills. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I know our student athletes are very excited to get back out on the court, back out on the field. We've had those experiences the last few days. If everything's still going well and moving in the right direction, then we will be looking at moving practices more from the skill development and social distancing to a little bit more contact type drills and some more types scrimmaging. So that will come later this fall, but that's kind of how practices are looking right now.
So once the fall ends, we run into winter, and I know a lot of people have been asking, what about winter sports? How is winter sports going to be conducted? Is it going to be moved to the summer after school and going to be an after-school activity? Do you have any news about winter sports?
So the winter sports are men's and women's basketball. Indoor track starts in the winter normally. And then men's volleyball usually comes back after Christmas. Even men's volleyball is considered a spring sport, but they do play a little bit in the winter. So the NCAA has come out and said basketballs can start practice October 1st. So that is our plan here. So we will implement the social distancing guidelines for the first couple weeks of practice and phase in how their practices look. Competition for the basketballs won't start until after the first of the year. The conference, we belong to the Northern Athletics Collegiate Conference. We have schedules in place for all sports. And I believe for the winter sports, they'll start more towards mid-January. So the plan is to continue to practice, work out, get better here this fall, October through November, and then come back for second semester and compete starting in mid-January.
So will they be following the same guidelines as the NCAA has put for the fall, or if there's been new information, would be translate with that?
So some new information's come out is in regards to more of the testing part of it and how that looks. Sports are categorized in high risk and lower risk, and depending on the risk of the sport, depends on the testing for that sport. So there's still some guidelines coming out with that, but testing will be a part of it. So testing's already improved dramatically here as far as how we're doing it and how we're able to administer the test, how quickly we can get results. So we've already seen that, and the NCAA, the conference, will also be working together to proactively search out any new testing options that could be there for the spring. So we're following the guidelines with testing, and we feel that with the improvements we've already seen and what's coming down the road, that testing will help us be ready for the spring when it comes to competition.
Thank you, Paul. I'm Logan Shephard, and this has been Eye of the Eagle News.
The last half a year has been stressful for the entire Benedictine community due to the restrictions put in place by COVID-19. Students are spending most of their time isolated from their peers. The Benedictine University Counseling Center, which is located in room 102 on the main level of the Kraza building, has been preparing to deal with the stress and anxiety students might be experiencing this semester. Dominic Fucile talked with Interim Assistant Director Liz Sidero of the Counseling Center to ask about the resources available to students for receiving counseling.
It's rather quiet here at the Benedictine University Counseling Center, as in-person meetings with counselors is currently off the table. However, I'm now meeting with Assistant Director Liz Sidero in order to talk about the ways that the Counseling Center is keeping students connected with very, very important mental health resources. So, thank you for taking the time to meet with me today, Liz. I guess the most important thing to ask is, how are things different here now that coronavirus has set in? Because I imagine that there are all sorts of stressors that students are under now.
Yeah, I think I'd start with the first thing is that it's different for students that the counseling center is not open physically. We're meeting with all of our clients virtually using a platform that's secure and encrypted called doxy.me, but it still allows us to support our student clients. But to separately answer your other question, definitely there's a lot of stressors that are happening right now for students because of the pandemic, because of virtual learning. I think people are struggling with anxiety, low motivation, stress, Zoom fatigue. So all of those things are things that we can address at the counseling center.
So how much would you say, because this is a stressor that I think has become very unique in the past few months, because as you were saying, Zoom fatigue, but how much are we seeing an increase in just general overall loneliness because of all of this?
So that's a great question. I think that loneliness and lack of connection is a significant problem for students because I think that they tend to be in living situations on campus where they might be living in a single room or only have one roommate. So their exposure to kind of an ongoing parade of people is much smaller. They may still see people in the cafeteria or, you know, if they visit a friend at their apartment. But I think that being stuck in your room with your virtual classes and having limited exposure is not a healthy thing.
With everything that's going on, how do students go about reaching out for counseling assistance, and how do they reach out during this very difficult time?
So there are two ways that students can reach out to the counseling center. They can call us at 630-829-1800, and we can speak with them. We can schedule an appointment based on their availability, and then provide them with the virtual link to their counselor's waiting room. Separately, as of Monday next week, on the 5th of October, we'll be launching a virtual walk-in system where individuals can visit doxy.me/BenU walk-in, and they will immediately be able to connect with a counselor.
Okay, and that's next Monday. What time did you say?
It'll start at 9 a.m.
9 a.m.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for meeting with me and talking about the resources that are available to students during this absolutely stressful time.
Much has changed at Benedictine University over the past months due to COVID-19. One of the major changes is Benny's Dining Hall. From a brand new way to order a meal or controlling what music you and your friends would like to hear, Benny's has much to offer. The BenU Eats team is very excited for students to enjoy a new way to dine. Eye of the Eagle's Kaitlyn Estopare is here with the inside scoop.
Okay. I'm here today with Executive Chef Jen Manola. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Pretty well, thanks for asking. So I just came to talk to you today some about the new changes and improvements that are coming to Benny's. So could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've had a lot of new changes over the past few months trying to get this place reopened for this semester and really focusing on the technology piece of it and getting new innovative things for the students and ways that they've never been able to do before. We have a Boost app, which we're really proud of. That is all mobile ordering. So they would place their orders online instead of waiting in line for their food. They're able to place it right from their dorm room, from their class, and that kind of speeds up the process of picking up their food. And they're really customizing how they want their drink, how they want their food. Part of another thing that we're doing is Rockbot. So that has been a huge thing, is that the music choices in the past may have not been everyone's selection. So we installed Rockbox, which is really a jukebox for us, where students have the choice of picking what they want to listen to. So we've gotten a lot of good feedback on that. It's a lot of fun. It's interactive. We also have a lot of televisions now as you walk in. Prior, it was just menu boards everywhere. And now we at least have the option of coming in and seeing the nutrition value on there, what we're serving for the day, any allergies. So we're really trying to bring forth the technology piece for us here. We've put in a virtual market, which we're really proud of. That is something that a lot of people were looking how to spend your B-Bucks. Now we have a marketplace for convenience type food that you guys need. If you need a gallon of milk, or if you want some cereal and you want, you know, things for your dorm room, we have it here. So now we have an option for them to use their B-Bucks along with Starbucks and everywhere else that we offer. So a lot of cool things to come. We're doing a lot of virtual stuff, a lot of social media, putting the word out there, and really trying to get the kids back into the system. All new menu. We've opened so many more stations than we ever had because we really want to give more options of food. That's what we're here for, and we want to really experience new items, trendy stuff, and get the kids excited about food.
Yeah, I'm sure the students are going to be very excited about that, especially with all the music and stuff like that. Next question. So has it been easier to adapt working in here, wearing masks, having to self-serve the students since they're not able to serve themselves?
So the masks have been a new change for everybody. And it is, it's a little difficult. It's hot in here and we all wear the mask, but we all know the reasonings behind it and really want to protect everybody and protect the flock and, make sure that we're doing whatever we can to stay safe, but also making sure our students are safe. A lot of the changes, it is stuff that our employees haven't had to do prior, but they're very excited about the outcome. We have heard nothing but good feedback for us, so that just makes the job itself so much better. And to hear, the improvements and the kids are happy about the food, and they're telling us. So, there's been a lot of extra staff added for COVID and to make sure that we're doing things safe, but there's a reason why we're adding that. And even though it might be extra people and extra hands and extra work, it's to better make sure everyone feels happy and safe being in here.
Yeah, I definitely think the masks are going to be around for a while, so we're going to have to adapt to that pretty quick. But that's really good that you guys are doing everything you guys can to make sure everything's safe, and the food is really excellent. Yeah, next question. So what exactly do you do here?
So my role is kind of a combined role. So I'm the executive chef, but I'm also the food service director. It is very important for us at the school to have this program chef-led. So myself and Blake, and we also have another manager here that we're all chefs at one point, still always will be chefs. But we're making sure that we are chef-led because we want to be creative and we want this food to show first, and really bring the people in, have fun experience with food. We want to be the most trendy, the most, new and improved. So it's best to have the chefs here. And, we have an amazing catering director who makes everything we do pretty too. So, it's really a good program for us. And, we love doing it as chefs. And we're here for the guys and we're here for everyone to make sure that they're having a good time.
Yeah, that's always good to love what you do. Yeah. And last question, kind of a fun question. What is your favorite meal that you guys make here so far?
So I'm really into fun, different stuff that you don't see anywhere else. We just did Korean sandwiches, which I just thought was so much fun. And to see students try something out of their element, I think I wouldn't say I forced kimchi, but I was like, I'm going to put it on the side. You guys try it. And then they come back and like, oh my gosh, that was so good. So I really like the kimchi bar. My baker makes the best biscotti cookies I've ever had. So I'm really coming from an Italian family. That's really fun. But I have to say the most popular with the students so far has been build your own mac and cheese. So I said we went through probably about 50 pounds of cheese that day. So.
That's a lot of cheese. Okay, well, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for meeting with us.
Yeah, anytime.
All right.
Fishing is one of the most practiced arts across the globe, whether for survival or for leisure. Fishing can be relaxing and great for bonding with friends and family. Others find excitement in reeling in the big one. Fishing can be enjoyable, but does pose a danger when using sharp hooks, as they are known to cause injury if the cast isn't well calculated. An avid fisherman spoke to us at Fishing Friday about what he loves most about fishing. He also shared tips on what bait is best to use and gave a brief insight on ice fishing. Eye of the Eagles Omondi spoke with Alex Pilath, a member of the Benedictine men's soccer team who happens to be an avid fisherman, about his experiences.
Hello guys, this is George back again with Alex Pilath from the men's soccer team, who's also an avid fisher. Pilath, how you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm good as well. Okay, so today we'll be covering fishing, as I found you fishing out here. So I'd like to ask you a series of questions. How did you get into fishing?
I got into fishing when I was a little bit younger. Got a bunch of like gift cards at Bass Pro Shops. So then I was just kind of like, you know what, I think I'm going to start fishing. And then ever since then, I met a lot of friends through it, so I just kind of fell in love, and I've been doing it since then.
Good. Like the response. What do you really like about it? Like, what's the experience about it that you really like?
I like the peacefulness of it. It's kind of nice just to get out and relax and not have to worry about anything. And most of the time when I go fishing, it's with my best friends. So that's another thing we get to experience. We just kind of get to hang out and do our own thing. It's usually quiet. Nobody's really bothering us. So it's nice. It's just, a nice, really fun, relaxing thing to do for us.
Okay, so you say you fell in love with fishing. What's been your best catch since you began fishing?
My best catch was a 4.5-pound bass. We were out one day with the fishing club in high school, and it was cold, super cold, and I just got lucky and I reeled a big one in.
That's good. You said 4.5-pound bass?
Yeah.
Was that from a pond, lake?
Yeah, it was from a I'd say like a better sized lake.
Better sized lake.
Yeah.
Okay, good Okay. Is it better to use live bait, such as worms, or like plastic or corn on top of the end of the bait stick?
It really kind of depends on what you want to catch. I like to use only the artificials, but a lot of people who like to catch like the big muskies and pike and stuff like that, they like to use the real bait because the best way to imitate life is with real life.
Real life, I like that. I like that. And so therefore, did you catch the 4.5-pound bass with the artificial bait or a live one? Because you say you had a 4.5-pound.
I caught it with an artificial bait.
With an artificial bait. Yeah. Okay. Last but not least, what we want to know is, have you ever had an accident? Did you ever get a hook stuck to your mouth anywhere you fish it?
No, I haven't, but one time with my friend, we were out fishing, him and his brother, and my friend went back to cast, and he ended up catching his brother kind of right in the lip. So we actually had to push the hook the rest of the way through and kind of smash the barb. That's the way a hook are set up. And it was not, I wouldn't say it was a fun experience for anybody because, a lot of blood. It wasn't very fun, but, it's what it is.
Is there any way to avoid this? Like, is there any directions you would suggest before fishing, like any safety steps to take, such as probably look around you, or those are not necessary?
Yeah, I would say just kind of be smart and think your way through things. There wasn't a lot of thinking in that situation, but make sure you know where you're going, where you're casting, nobody's around, and just make sure you're safe.
There you have it, guys. The segment on fishing, brought to you by the one and only George Omondi. Back to you, the Gold Coast studio.
The Communication Arts Department is getting some serious star power. That's what it's starting to look like, as Susan Carlson, an NBC News anchor, is a new professor here at Benedictine. She's teaching the Writing for Electronic Media class, and Carlson is ready to teach students her craft. Ben News reporter Jordan Strong spoke with Ms. Carlson about her new job and how she will use her experience to teach the students.
So what made you decide to move from NBC into being a college professor?
Well, actually, I'm still working at NBC on a part-time basis. I've kind of had an interesting combination of jobs I've been working at. On and off for the past 10 years, I've been working as an adjunct professor while also working in television news full-time. So within the past 6 months or so, I've cut back on my hours at NBC News, and I'm going to be devoting more time to teaching and doing some other following up on some other opportunities. But if you're getting at what do I like about teaching and why is that appealing to me, I can certainly tell you that.
Yeah, you could. What is appealing about the teaching?
Well, I have been working in television or radio news for the past 29 years. And while it's very adrenaline, rush, excitement, edge of your seat, constantly hitting deadlines, stressful environment that I was thriving in, and I have thrived in for many, many years, I actually am more drawn right now to the side of teaching where I actually get to connect with students and be able to see them learn skills that will be invaluable in life, whether they go on into broadcast journalism or not. My goal is always to help students become better critics of broadcast journalism, become more educated news consumers. And yeah, sometimes you meet people who are aspiring broadcast journalists themselves. And my goal is to just educate them and bring them to where they need to be so they have a very real world understanding of how the environment works.
Alrighty, how different is the experience of teaching compared to NBC?
There's more of a one-on-one connection when you're teaching because you actually get to know your students, you get to have honest communication, I get attached to my students. I like young aspiring journalists and I want to help them. And that is something that you don't get out of TV news. TV news, as I said, is a very stressful lifestyle. It can be very rewarding and very exciting, but it also, you're more isolated. While people think you're so connected to the general public, the truth is you're really not, because you really don't get to see people that you're broadcasting to. The only people that you have contact with are your interviews, and your interviews are typically done on deadline. And so you're missing that same connection with the students. And in this way, when you're teaching students, your connection is always to help them learn and to help them grow, to see those light bulb moments. Like I see on your face sometimes, Jordan, when you get what I'm talking about, I love it. And when you don't get what I'm talking about, it challenges me to be a better teacher. So it's a completely different world, and there are great parts about both worlds, but right now I'm more drawn to that more connected lifestyle with a student. I stopped being an adjunct professor for a couple of years when I had my daughter, and I took time just working in television news. I was still working a full-time job, but I stopped teaching. And you know what I missed more than anything was connecting with students, and that's why I'm back.
Alrighty, and what do you hope your students will get out of your class?
I hope that they get a very practical understanding of broadcast journalism. If I'm teaching a class about how to write for the news, I want them to gather those skills and be able to grow and learn. But I also want them to become, as I mentioned earlier, more educated news consumers. If in fact they decide that this is not a career for them, that's okay. I want them to leave my class feeling like they're better educated when they watch the news, when they hear the news. We're constantly bombarded with media messages. And my goal is for all the students that I teach to really be more critical of those messages that are coming in, because they're educated in how it's put together. I want them to question, wait, who's telling me this? What source did this come from? Do I know this to be accurate? Do I trust this source? Do I believe a soundbite? Do I believe that stories were written the most effective way? I want them to become critical news consumers at the very least, and in some cases go on to the profession and make me proud, and that has happened before, and that's a very good feeling too.
And what is it like to pass on your experience to other potential up-and-coming news workers?
It's very rewarding. It's an extremely rewarding opportunity because as a person who has been in either radio or television for 29 years, I'm extremely critical of how it's done. I hope in a constructive, effective way. And so it's very rewarding to pass on a more educated eye to students so that they can become better consumers of all the news and the media messages that they are bombarded with as well. So it feels good to me. It's rewarding to see people grasping these skills, grasping these concepts, and ultimately becoming better writers, because we all can be better writers in any profession we choose. It always is to your benefit to be in a more effective communicator.
And I guess before you were teaching, how long have you been working at NBC before you became a professor?
I have been at NBC 7 years. And before that, I was at CBS as the morning news anchor here in Chicago for 11 years. And before that, I worked at ABC 7 and WLS Radio. I was working both, full-time on the radio side, part-time on the TV side. And before that, I worked at WGN television here in Chicago. So I've kind of made my way around to all the Chicago radio TV stations. And prior to that, I worked at Shadow Traffic doing radio and both traffic and news reports on various radio stations in Chicago. And my very first job was at a radio station in Waukegan, which is in the far northern suburbs, and it was a news talk station. And that was my first job out of college as a news reporter there. So I've really made the rounds in Chicago at many different stations. It all adds up to 29 years. I can break down my resume, but it's kind of boring after a while.
All right, and I think that'll be enough questions.
The SASA is a student-led organization to promote South Asian culture on campus. They are creating new exciting ways to connect virtually. Benedictine is now offering a Bollywood Kahoot. This gives students the opportunity to still be involved with the group. Eye of the Eagle reporter Emma Nesbitt was able to conduct an interview with Jinkle Modi and Unati Morker about the upcoming event.
Okay, so I am Emma Nesbitt with Eye of the Eagle, and I am here with President Jinkle and Vice President Unadi. They are part of the South Asian culture on campus, and they are going to share more about the Bollywood Kahoot event. So can you guys just kind of expand a little bit more about the event and what students should expect when they're participating?
Yes, so hi, I'm Jinko, the president of South Asian Student Association at Benedictine University. Our first event, which is fully virtual, or we can also call it a GBM, is this Thursday, and it is Bollywood Kahoot. Bollywood is equivalent of Hollywood in India, or not just India, it's in entire South Asia. It's just like the equivalent of Hollywood, and I'm pretty sure that all the South Asians have like watched Bollywood while growing up, and it's just like a memory that's connected with them like throughout their childhood, and they can connect with like the movies and like the vibe on like a level which is extremely good. And like yeah, so Bollywood Kahoot is just, so we've made like a Kahoot which like where we like simulated like all the questions, and we like picked up like like the classic movies, and like we have made questions about them and everything, so just to test everyone's knowledge and just so everyone can have a fun time, because COVID is really bad and people are stuck in their homes. So this is just a fun way to bring the community together and just enjoy something that we all share in common.
Yeah, that's really nice. I think that's a really good idea to bring, with everything going on. And since people can't be on campus, I like how you guys are still trying to, include other students. So is this open to everybody?
Yeah, so it's open to all Benedictine students, open to all cultures. We are also very inclusive, so anyone and everyone can join.
Awesome. I love that. So what kind of like questions do you think are going to be on there? You said like about like the Hollywood, tying it in and everything. What kind of questions should like students expect to see?
We have questions where we have asked like just certain aspects of Bollywood, because there are many Bollywood actors who have been to pageants like Miss World and Miss Universe. So there could be questions related to that. There could also be questions about who played the lead role in this movie, or what movie does this dialogue belong to, or just finishing a certain like dialogue or a certain movie name.
Okay. So how can students access this event?
So I know Katie has already set a link, and the link or the meeting ID and passcode are in the email that they sent out in this week at BenU. And they can also go on our website, and there is a flyer there. So they can access it through there, or they can just DM us if they're having trouble finding the link, and we will get them on the right track.
Okay, perfect. And then what do you guys have any other upcoming events that are kind of related to this in the future, or?
We have potential dance workshops coming up in October. Since we do India Night in the spring, we are trying to prepare for it as much as we can. So hopefully with partnership with Hindu Student Association, we plan to do dance workshops where they can learn different kinds of like South Asian dances and all that.
Nice. That sounds really interesting. Well, I loved hearing about your event. So thank you guys for taking the time today to share that awesome information about the Bollywood Kahoot. And I hope you guys have a great turnout for it. Again, President Jinkle and Unadi for the South Asian culture.
The Association of Latin American Students are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month and held a whole week of activities on September the 14th. With the procedures in place here at Benedictine, ALAS had everyone participate virtually on Zoom. The events that took place varied from Kahoot to a virtual lottery to students being able to submit items that they felt expressed their culture. They even had a guest speaker who helped answer questions and shared her story about being a minority. The club had a great turnout, and we're excited to celebrate this week with many different students that attend Benedictine. I, the Eagles' Jenny Puchacz, talked with some members of ALAS to discuss Hispanic heritage and their feelings about the club.
Hello, my name is Jenny Puchacz. I'm here for Eye of the Eagle, and I'm joined here with Natalie Figueroa, Jennifer Castaneda, and Andy Garcia, and they are all part of the Association of Latin American Students here at Benedictine University. So we did see that you guys just held a Hispanic Heritage Week. So I wanted to start by asking how that went and like kind of the events you guys held.
So yeah, we had a whole week dedicated, our heritage. It is a whole month that Hispanic Heritage is celebrated, but we wanted to have a week where we could have like events each day just to our peers of what we're all about. So yeah, we had like multiple like games, and we had really good participation. Of course, it had to be all through Zoom. We were able to manage. We appreciated everyone who came out. We did Kahoot the first day, which was a really big learning experience for everyone. I mean, I'm Mexican, so I can only go so far with my knowledge. So it was really nice to learn about different cultures and like their type of like fun facts and like their history. So that was nice. And then we did the next day, we did like, it's Hispanic bingo. It's fun. I mean, it's a fast game. You just we had a lot of, everyone was really involved with that when it wasn't just Hispanic. So it was really nice to like show them the different types of games we have, and it was just really nice. It was a little socializing experience that we don't really get to have right now. So it was nice. And then Wednesday we had a speaker. Natalie, I don't know if you want to expand more on that.
Yeah, so Wednesday we had a speaker. We had Dr. Vanessa Nepomuceno. She has a PhD in microbiology and is working educating medical students too. And our talk was so she talked about her journey, her academic journey, as well as her workforce journey. And then she gave words of like advice to the students. We also touch on how it is to be Hispanic, women, like a minority in every basis in the workforce. And although it was more directly to STEM students, she also gave advice to just in general. That event had a really good turnout. We had Hispanic students, and as well as we had other racial students. So it was one of the events that I think had the like most people in it. Lots of great questions. I think it was a great learning experience for all the students that joined. And yeah, so that was for Wednesday.
For that one, BSU actually kind of joined in on that. So it was really nice to see that participation because they got their answers, from Dr. Vanessa, because she is a Black woman, but she is Latina. So they have someone that we could see in that world, because for a lot of us, we don't see those people in positions like hers. So she kind of wanted to be that person for us because she'd never had that person in her life. So it was nice.
Did you guys each have like a favorite event of the week that you guys held?
Hands down, I think, well, aside from the speaker, it was really interesting, and I definitely kind of like saw eye to eye in certain things. But I think the Loteria and like the Kahoot games were definitely something that kind of like made everybody join us, something that they kind of are familiarized with, even though like we're not even face to face. They had time, and we were like able to like do it on Zoom, where like we're kind of interacting, even though we're like not really physically there.
And then with all the procedures that we're having to follow with like COVID and stuff, have you guys found it harder to plan stuff out for the association, or do you have to like obviously make changes of like how you guys meet, or like what you guys can plan and not plan?
Yeah, so we're all a new board of ALAS. I've been a member of ALAS since my freshman year, but being on the board is different. I mean, we have to plan everything out, and it's everything's new. You know, it's a whole learning experience for not only just the students, but also the, you know, the club board. We're trying to make this work, trying to get like the most participation, try to see what is kind of exciting, you know, because everything does have to be virtual, you know, so it has been difficult, especially since we're kind of like one of the first clubs to have like their, you know, their events. We're the first one, so we're kind of like testing the waters, and we didn't have like that example to like follow, like, oh, SASA or BSU, you know, those other ones where we can be like, oh, that's a good idea. I have seen clubs reaching out to us like, oh, they're doing a Kahoot too. So it's nice that we kind of like open those gates up for like, you know, the student body to what it's going to be like going on from now.
And then with having like the changes and stuff, I know you guys mentioned that for some of the events during the Heritage Week, you guys had a good turnout. Have you noticed that since everything is virtual, has it been harder to either have meetings or have people come to the events you held, or were you guys kind of surprised that a decent amount of people joined in?
For that one, I think even though it's difficult, I personally, and I think the other guys can agree, we did have a lot, like even in our Eagle Stop meeting, we were surprised with the amount of people that actually showed up to the meeting and were eager to join, and were very excited about what activities to come, and were very like open to sharing opinions and all that stuff. So for me, and I think Jenny and Andy can agree that we have seen that people actually starting to show up.
Awesome. And then one last thing, for each of you, since you joined the association, was there any particular reasons you guys joined, or was it just kind of to be able to like meet more people?
For me, I know my freshman year it got like revived, I like to say, because I don't think it was around before that. And for me, it was really nice to have a group of students that may have been going through the same struggles that I have, right? Because at our school, we are such a small percentage. So it was nice to like join like all the familiar faces, and then you make good friends. Like I'm still friends with some of the people I made then through that club. So it was really nice experience. And now I feel like I kind of wanted to be a resource to these individuals, these new transferring students, freshmen, you know, because we were once in their shoes. And I know right now through virtual, we have the upper hand because we did have Benedictine in person at one time. So just advice like that. I didn't want that and I didn't want Alas to go away after this year because we are a new board and we took lead again. So yeah, for me.
I also agree with Jenny, just the fact that you can have people which you can relate to. I think that's a big part. And I also wanted to join just because when you're in a club, especially like in a school club, you have more resources to reach out to the community, especially, well, our target community will be the Hispanic, Latino community. And I feel that it gives you a lot of empowerment to be able to reach out to these communities and help them even with whatever you can do.
Same here. Basically, since we should have such a low representation in school for Hispanics, just having a little something to put our voice out there and to say like, hey, we're here. We're having some struggles, although some of them are not going to be the same as you guys, but we do have some similarities.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys so much for all the information and sharing all your thoughts and letting us know how that Heritage Week went. And I look forward to seeing what else what kind of events you guys hold going on through the rest of the year. I know it's going to be a bit different, but it'll be exciting to see what other ideas you guys will come up with. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we're still going to be having events to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, so definitely look out for that. We're just trying to get everything, again, because everything's so new, we're trying to get everyone on board with this whole virtual thing. So it's a little bit more difficult than in person, you know. In Kaitlyn Hall, we could reach so many students, you know, but through here, it's a little harder.
The Benedictine University Fitness Center has gone through many changes in the past months due to COVID-19. Students, staff, and outside visitors have had to abide by many new protocols and cleaning procedures in hope to lessen the spread of the virus. New hours have also been implemented to be able to completely sanitize the equipment. The student body has been asked to be very vigilant, adamant about wearing their masks, and practicing good social distancing. Although these guidelines will remain for the semester, athletic administration says that group practices will return soon. The Eagles' Mason Sobiesk spoke with head athletic trainer Nathan Van Raden about the situation.
All right, hello, this is Mason Sobiesk. I'm here with head athletic trainer Nate Van Raden. Just gonna ask you a couple questions about the fitness center and how things are going with COVID this year. So first off, what are some of the new COVID protocols and policies for our fitness center this year?
So a few of the things we needed to do to get the fitness center up and running are set it up so we could have it physically distanced because the way it was previously set up, we had a lot of cardio machines that were really close to each other. So we took basically every other one offline. So that would hopefully improve our ability to physically distance in there. We rearranged the weight room upstairs to get some of the higher traffic areas away from each other. And then we kind of taped out some boxes on the floor as well to remind people how big of a space 6 feet by 6 feet is and that they can have certain capacities in certain boxes and things like that. Other things we're doing is it's actually closed down for an hour in the middle of the day to get a deep clean by our maintenance staff, as well as we have student workers who are cleaning in between every single use of all the equipment. And then finally, we have capacities on them, which we didn't necessarily have, enforced before. So there's a limit to how many people can be downstairs at one time and how many people can be upstairs at one time. And there's a system where students just go and sign up for those time slots, so we avoid ever getting to the point where we're over capacity.
Right, and then you mentioned that there was a break in the middle of the day. What are the new hours for the fitness center for COVID?
Yeah, so right now we open at 10 a.m. and we're open until 2 p.m. and then we're closed from 2 to 3 p.m. and then we reopen at 3 and are closed again at 7 o'clock at night. Probably will be expanding those hours fairly soon.
Okay, and then what do you think your thoughts are about how the future of the fitness center moving on from COVID is? What do you think the next steps are that we have to take?
I think that until we get to the point where this is behind us all, that this will probably be our new normal up until that point. The only thing I could see us changing is expanding the hours a little bit, and then probably adding like another cleaning break in there at some point. But for the most part, the distancing, the masking, and the cleaning aren't going anywhere until COVID decides it wants to go away.
Yeah, for the time I've been in there, it seems like it's been pretty well. So, and then how do you think the student body and staff have done with all those protocols, abiding by keeping masks on and keeping 6 feet away? Have things been running smoothly?
I will say that I have been really impressed with our student body. I think that was a major concern of a lot of people going into this would be compliance. And that has not been an issue at all. Our students and student athletes and staff have really just been absolutely tremendous, following the rules, very respectful, and understanding that things can change from time to time. And everybody's been really flexible, and I've been really, really proud of our students and student athletes.
Yeah, that's great. Do you think that in the future there's certain things that you as the head athletic trainer will have to maneuver around for COVID? Obviously it's you have to do things a little different when it comes to people going into the athletic training room. Is that here to stay, or are we gonna be able to?
So the biggest change I think moving forward is going to be frequency of testing for our athletes. As we start to get into competition, we will be upping the COVID testing frequency because our risk is going to go way up once we start. Right now, all of our practices are structured where there isn't really contact. It's still masked and distanced, but we are going to start getting into things that look and feel a lot more like normal sports again. And as that comes along, we will be definitely increasing the frequency of testing for our student athletes because we're understanding that the risk is going way up.
Okay. And then going forward for, like you said, practices, is there any steps in place already that we're going to be working in groups first? Or are we doing full team practices? What is that going to look like?
Yeah, the NCAA has been releasing guidance on this, and we're following all of their guidance. And so it's a phased-in return to play, which we just completed sort of the first phase of it, which was outdoor strength and conditioning workouts, because our main concern was that our athletes might not be acclimatized to the activity, where we got shut down in the middle of March, and in theory, there could have been some of our athletes that haven't done a lot of physical activity between the middle of March and reporting back to campus. So we did 2 weeks of strength and conditioning activity to start to get their bodies used to the activity again before we throw them into their sport specific stuff. So we completed that phase. Phase 2 was what we're in right now, which is 10-person unit practices for most of our teams. Again, they're still distanced and masked. And once we do 2 weeks of that, then we can go into basically full-on sports for most of our teams. Exceptions being our larger rosters, because the county still has restrictions in place where we can't have a gathering larger than 50 people. There's 140 people on our football team, so they can't legally all be in the same place at the same time.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time talking about the fitness center and how things have been going. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Mason.
Yep.
The Tau Kappa Epsilon brothers are getting ready for their not-so-normal rush week this year to welcome their new brothers into their chapter. After the switch to all classes being held fully online, things will be looking a little different. All of Rush Week will be held via Zoom this year, and not the traditional type of Rush Week that we are all used to. Being a community and working together has never been so important, and welcoming brothers into the fraternity will bring more people even closer together. Eye of the Eagle's Kailey McNally talked with Vice President of Tau Kappa Epsilon, Jordan Lawrence, about his hopes for the fraternity this year.
Good afternoon and welcome to Eye of the Eagle. Today I am talking to Vice President of Tau Kappa Epsilon, Jordan Lawrence. How are you today, Jordan?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. So today, one of the first questions I have for you is why would we join Tau Kappa Epsilon?
So when someone's looking to join a fraternity, they're usually looking for two things. One is that obvious friendship and the brotherly bond that we can create. And the other is to grow yourself as a person. So, and how we do that is through philanthropic events and community service and outings that we do. And we do a lot more. There are very few other clubs on campus that are able to do that to the extent as a fraternity can. And what sets us apart from a regular club and a fraternity is that when you graduate, you graduate with the fraternity, so you're with us for life. And that usually is a very good part of the fraternity organization that everyone likes about it.
That sounds awesome. What are the grade requirements to join?
So we have a national average set by our headquarters at 2.5 GPA.
Okay.
At our fraternity, it's set at 2.75. But with the guys that we have now and had in the past, we've averaged about a 3.0. So no one had a real struggle keeping that 3.0 or above. But obviously, if you fall below a 2.75, we'll help you out. We won't let you slip through the cracks. We'll bring you where you need to be.
All right. What type of time commitment does the fraternity require? And you mentioned also that that the fraternity will help you guys not slip through the cracks. Do you guys have study tables at all?
Yeah. So we have study tables, and with the time commitment question, it is a commitment like every other social club on campus. We have a weekly meeting as a grand chapter, as a grand colony in our case, which goes about an hour to 2 hours, depending on what we're talking about. And if you're on the exec board, we meet every week as well. So that's about an hour to an hour and a half. So with the meetings, you're looking at about 3.5 hours if you're really involved with the fraternity.
Okay.
For the week. And the week has 168 hours in it. And 3.5 hours it's a very minuscule amount of time. Obviously that excludes any events that we do.
What type of community service do you guys do?
We do the basic stuff and the bake sales, and we wanted to host a club band, but obviously due to COVID-19 that couldn't happen. We also have had cookouts and just get-togethers at the tailgate on campus in the fall. And we do a lot of stuff for St. Jude, so that's one of our biggest philanthropic events. And we go on marathons with them in the city. Nationwide, we have raised a little over $10 million in 10 years for St. Jude. So we're very proud of that. I'm glad to help them out in that way.
Very cool. Do you guys have any type of Big Brother program at all?
Yes, we do. That's actually a very popular program that we started 2 semesters ago.
Okay.
So, if you're not familiar with the Big Brother program, it's that it's usually an incoming new member is assigned to an already existing member, and they're just their big brother, so to say. So their little brother can go to their big brother for anything that they need, whether that be academic or emotional support. It's just basically an assigned friend.
Cool. You mentioned earlier that you guys were supposed to have a Club Ben event this year, but due to COVID, that's been canceled. How is the fraternity looking different this year due to COVID?
Well, with every club on campus, has been hit by COVID-19 differently. I would say that the fraternity has been hit pretty significantly. We lost a couple guys. We lost some guys due to enrollment and stuff like that. So we're sitting about 11 guys. At the end of this year, so this semester and next semester, we're looking to get a little over 30 guys so we can reach a chapter status.
Okay.
So right now we're a colony, and in order to be a chapter or to charter, you have to have a little over 30 guys.
Okay.
So I'm pretty confident that we're able to get to that number.
Okay. And you said a couple people decided not to join the fraternity this year. How many people are you guys looking at right now in the fraternity?
About 11.
Okay.
There's 11 of us. Obviously due to COVID-19, people wanted to drop out. But, the interest of the fraternity, it's still flowing. We're still here. Yeah.
And if there's students still looking to join, is it too late to join now?
Oh, no, of course not. It's never too late to join the fraternity here on campus. You can email me if you're interested. It's Jordan, Jordan, _Lawrence, LAWRENCE, @ben.edu. And I can email you information on what the process is like and the other things that we do.
Great. Thank you so much for talking to me today, Jordan.
Yeah, thank you. No problem.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.
That's the news for October. I'm Maddie Smith.
And I'm Joey Spahn. See you next month for Eye of the Eagle News.
Welcome back to In the Spotlight with your host, Hannah Wagner.
Hi, I'm your host, Hannah Wagner, and I'm back with Dr. Incandela. So we're just going to continue on with some of the questions.
Okay.
When you're not at work, what are some of the things that you like to do in your free time?
Inside, I like reading. I really like American history. That tends to be something that I try to find the next good book in American history. When I'm outside, we live on a lake, so I do kayaking and boating and water sports and things like that.
What kind of boat do you have at your
We have a little
house?
baby pontoon boat.
I love pontooning.
With an electric motor. It goes about 3 miles an hour.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
How long have you had it?
About a year.
Oh, okay. What's a fun fact that not many people know about you?
So I asked a number of people who do know me what a fun fact is. So I have 2. Okay, one fun fact is that before we bought a house here, I was living in Founders Woods for probably 2 months.
I was like, I live there now.
That was an interesting couple months. It was during the summer, so basically I had the place to myself.
Oh.
And then the other one, I guess, is a fun fact. My wife suggested this. I used to play the organ in church.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How'd you get into that?
I had relatives that were taking keyboard lessons, so I ended up mimicking them, and I ended up playing in church. I was not very good.
Oh.
I was really not very good.
That's
But I did
okay.
it.
Yeah, at least you tried.
I did.
And then speaking of your wife, I've
Yes.
seen her around campus, and she made me cookies one time. How did you two meet?
We met on a blind date.
Oh.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
I'm not exactly sure why we were matched together, but we were, and there you go. It's not a great story other than we both found each other, and we ended up dating after that, and then we got married.
Ultimately, that's all that matters.
I guess.
Yeah. How long have you two been married?
31 years.
That's a long time.
It is a while.
Congratulations.
Yes, it is a while.
Do you two have any children?
We have 2 boys. Corey is just turned 21. He's a junior at St. Norbert in Wisconsin. And Andrew is 24, and he is a second-year medical student at Indiana University.
Oh, what does he want to do with the medical field?
He is undecided right now what specialty he wants to go in, but he's open to a lot of different things.
Oh, so do you know how he decided that he wanted to go to Norbert, did you say?
And my younger one?
Yeah.
My wife's family is from Wisconsin, and so we had been going up to Wisconsin since he was a baby, and he's always loved Wisconsin. And so when it came time to do a lot of college visits, we just took him around to lots of different places in Wisconsin. And just like a lot of people that choose a college, he felt very much at home at St. Norbert as soon as he stepped on campus, and that's where he is.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Does he know what he wants to
He's
do?
in political science. He's going to spend a semester studying in Washington, D.C. next semester. I think he'd like to go somewhere in the nonprofit world, maybe working for a congressman, but I think he's open to a lot of different options at this point.
Oh, well, good for him.
Yep.
Well, that's all the time we have for In the Spotlight. I've been your host, Hannah Wagner. Thanks for watching.
Hello, I'm Logan Shephard, and I'm here with
Christian Rodriguez.
Christian. What's your favorite thing about fall?
Halloween.
And with virtual learning going on, how are you de-stressing during those classes?
I'm playing a lot more video games.
He's playing a lot of more video games. Thank you, Christian.
Thank you.
Brock, what's your favorite thing about the fall holiday?
I love watching football on Sundays and then chilling with the guys.
And with virtual learning going on, how are you de-stressing during these times?
Keeping up with the guys and just balling out at practice.
All right. Thanks, Brock.
Hi, I'm Jordan Strong, and I'm here with
Anna Dudziak.
All right. So, Anna, what's your favorite thing about fall?
I'd have to say the fall clothes and just hanging out with my friends and watching movies with them.
All right. And how are you doing to de-stress during virtual learning?
Just hanging out with my roommates, watching movies with them, listening to music, things like that.
All right. That was Anna. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Jenny Puchacz, and I'm here with
JT.
What is your favorite thing about fall?
Definitely the weather. It's definitely sweatpants, sweatshirt weather, so it's pretty cool.
And then how are you de-stressing during virtual learning?
Lots of Netflix. Lots of Netflix.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Emma Nesbitt here with
Jesse.
So what is your favorite thing about fall?
I don't know. I like the weather is nice. Like I like how it's not too hot, like not too cold. I like going to like pumpkin patches and stuff with like my friends and stuff. Haunted houses. I like Halloween. Yeah, all that stuff.
And then how are you de-stressing with virtual learning?
With virtual learning, like I kind of do it like I get other people involved and like I do it with other people, like my other classmates and stuff. And then I also like step away from it for a little bit, like play like my sport or like just like watch a show or something. Yeah. So
thanks.
Hi, I'm Jenny Puchacz, and I'm here with
Alex Pillith.
Okay, Alex, what is your favorite thing about fall?
I like that it gets a little cooler. I like the cold weather myself, and my birthday's in the fall, so that's always a plus.
Okay, and then how are you de-stressing with virtual learning?
I'm trying not to sweat the small stuff as much, so I'll take time when I do assignments. I'll try not to wait till the last second, and I find that really helps.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm here with
Alex Montoya.
What are you doing to distress during virtual learning?
So I don't have much time during the day. So I have work and internship and school. So I actually have classes while sitting on the floor, and I stretch while in class. And that's just definitely something that like helps, and then it helps me with my workouts later.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I'm Kevin Gallagher here with Martin Radomski. I have one question. What is your favorite thing about fall?
I really like the pumpkin spice lattes from Starbucks.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I'm here with Blake Atkins today. Hi, Blake. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. For question for you, what is your favorite thing about fall?
My favorite thing about fall is everyone's decorations. I love the scented candles and all the fall leaves everywhere.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm here with Adia Dixon, and I want to ask, how are you de-stressing during all the e-learning that's going on this semester?
The ways I've been de-stressing during e-learning is kind of being on campus, walking around, sitting by the Benedictine lake, especially now that it's fall. It's really pretty, and it's kind of just to clear your mind, and yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm here with Michaela, and I have one question. What's your favorite thing to do during fall?
It's Tim season, and I drink hot coffee, finally, so.
Hello, I'm here with Lauren, and I have to ask, what is your favorite thing about fall?
I would say the changing of the colors. I just think it's super pretty on campus, and it's just absolutely beautiful to walk around and see all the colors.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm here with Mofi. So, quick question. What do you do to distress during the virtual learning that we're encountering right now?
I would say like hang out with my friends and work out for now.
Thank you, Mo. Right back at you. Hi, I'm here with Todd today, and I have a quick question for you. What do you love most about the fall season?
I like the weather. I like that it's not too hot, it's not too cold. It's like a good in between.